Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. My name is Endang Lestari from English Language Education 5E, and in this video I will explain about assessing reading, assessing writing, assessing grammar, assessing speaking, and assessing listening. So stay tuned ya. The first material is assessing reading. Reading assessment are meant to provide feedback on the skills, processes, and knowledge resources that represent reading abilities, though it is important to note that different assessment practices may assume different theories of reading and reading development. Assessment in general can be categorized in a number of ways, and all assessment frameworks serve important purposes. Commonly, assessment has been categorized in terms of norm, reference, and criterion reference testing, formative and summative assessment, formal and informal assessment, and proficiency, achievement, placement, and diagnosis assessment. Reading assessment is organized and described in terms of 5 basic assessment purposes, that is, reading proficiency assessment, and assessment of classroom learning, assessment for learning, and assessment of curricular effectiveness, assessment for research purposes. Tips for developing reading comprehension tests are: make sure your assessment match your reading program, and sample a range of reading sub-skill with different text types. Allow for until 10 items per text type. Choose a range of text types appropriate to your program. Familiarity with the topics aid comprehension, and use authentic or adapted text whenever possible. Exploit the in-depth text. Questions will cover all sections of a text, assess inferencing and critical thinking. The second material is assessing writing. The categories of writing skills are micro skills. Micro skills of writing are appropriately applied to imitative and intensive types of writing tasks. Micro skills writing are essential for the successful mastery of responsive and extensive writing. Scoring methods for responsive writing and extensive writing are: the first is holistic scoring, is a scoring method to evaluate writing in which rather awards a score for the overall quality instead of for individual traits. Holistic scoring is used to assessing writing sample, though it may be employed to assess any performance text, for example, athletic, dance, or others. The second is primary trait scoring, is an approach for evaluating constructed responses in which scores are based on one or more specific aspects of performance that are essential for the successful completion of the tested task. The third is analytic scoring, is a method of evaluating student work that requires assigning a separate score for each dimension of a text. For example, analytic rubrics and develop of ideas, organization, language use, vocabulary, grammar, spelling, and mechanics. The third material is assessing grammar. 5 characteristics to measure communicative grammar are: the test must provide more context than only a single sentence. The test taker should understand what the communicative purpose of the text is. He or she should also know who the intended audience is. He or she must have to focus on meaning and not form to answer correctly. Recognize is not sufficient. The test taker must be able to produce grammatical responses. Alternative assessment for assessing grammar are: games. Usually, these games are defined by their focus on their use of language, limited option for communication, and accuracy. Class observation consists of classroom activities, classroom communication, elected dialogues, writing exercise. Online activities and multimedia teaching times. Teacher can use internet as a way of assessing students' ability of grammar. And portfolio is a purposeful collection of student work that tells the viewer about the student. Works will be organized by chronological order and category. Teacher can evaluate the child's achievements. The fourth material is assessing speaking. Why do we assess spoken language? The answer is speaking cannot be measured indirectly through writing or multiple choice items or through a full question. Also, in spite of some research reports, speaking skill cannot really be assessed with closed tests open-ended questions, sentence completion, or other measures considered interrogative and communicative. Basic types of speaking. The first is imitative, the ability to simply parrot back or imitate a word or phrase or possibly a sentence. Imitative assessment tasks such as repetition tasks, past tests, and others. The second is intensive, the production of short stretches of oral language designed to demonstrate competence in a narrow band of grammatical, phraseological, or phonological relationship. Intensive speaking assessment tasks such as direct response tasks, read aloud tasks, and others. The third is responsive speaking assessment tasks such as question and answer, giving instruction and direction, and others. The fourth is interactive speaking assessment tasks such as interview, role play, discussion, and conversation. The fifth is extensive or monologue, excessive speaking assessment tasks such as oral presentation, picture called storytelling, and others. The fifth material is assessing listening. The objectives of listening assessment are comprehending of surface structure elements such as phonemes, word intonation, and grammatical category. Type of listening assessment tasks, intensive listening. Understanding of pragmatic context. We can design this objective by using responsive listening to a relatively short stretch of language in order to make an equally short response. The example is open-ended response to question and others. Determining meaning of auditory input. We can design assessment tasks by using selective listening. It means processing stretches of discourse such as short monologue for several minutes and others. Developing the case, a global or comprehensive understanding. The type of this part is extensive listening, where listening is used to develop a global understanding of spoken language. Formats in listening tests are matching, true or false, fill in the blank, multiple choice, sentence completion, diagram labeling, chart or table completion, and short answer question. Okay everyone, I think it's enough for my explanation. I hope my explanation is easy to understand, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.